Yeah, I was with the Royal Dragoon Guards, just short of 3 years. Didn't go on tour. I got injured in Canada. I was in hospital. I had a subdural bleed, 7% brain damage, a fractured skull. Yeah, I was diagnosed with PTSD because of the head injury. It was hard. I couldn't do things that I could do before quite easily. It was a real struggle for a long time. You ask anybody coming out of the army, it's totally different. We're supposed to be able to cope, and sometimes we just need that helping hand. We really do, and I admit it now.
Feels empty. Not really many places to turn that'll really understand. The impacts are immense. So job losses, relationship breakdowns, and they're not due to sort of conflicts. It's more me pushing them people away and sort of dealing with this in isolation, in a dark room as such.
For some veterans, coping with life after the armed forces is tough, and that's why we need an armed forces covenant that is fit for purpose. So I'm honoured to be part of the Daily Express's Homes for Heroes campaign, which is seeking to make sure the government, local authorities and housing associations provide the help and care veterans deserve. It's time to make sure that no veteran must sleep rough, and to ensure that all former members of the armed forces can access the support and care they need in civilian life. And I'm glad to say I'm not alone in campaigning on this.
We've got a lot of people who've come back from war, sadly, with mental health issues. They've got problems with homelessness and problems just fitting in. After being in the army, you have a life that's regulated, and suddenly you're away from that. You're cut off from your basically your family, which is what the regiment is, and sometimes people fall through the net. The army do their best, but it's not easy. And I think that's a great thing by the Express to make sure that this happens, that we make sure that we look after these people who are protecting our liberty and our freedom.
I'm completely on board with it. I think it's a fantastic campaign. I think that our former armed forces veterans coming out of the services, having put their life on the line for their country, should be at the front of the queue for all sorts of public services, but including access to housing, and not at the back of the queue.
As I understand it, all the local councils have signed up to the military covenant, which basically says that military veterans get priority on the housing list, but it's just not happening. I think the campaign's all about making it happen.
It's not just, talking about it. It seems to be lip service. For many, many years, we've said, we've got to be doing more for our boys and girls. Actually, we've got to be debating this in Parliament. We've got to be really talking now about action, not words.
It's a military covenant, that's what they said. These people fought for their country and they should have priority on the housing list. So it's an open and shut case.
We're Paul Nuttall, leader of UKIP. We're here to talk about the Express's Homes for Heroes campaign, which I believe you're fully behind.
Absolutely 100%. And my whole party is. Veterans, they deserve to be looked after. The military covenant should be upheld. People who are prepared to go out and put their lives on the line to protect freedom and democracy in this country should be looked after when they come home. I think it's a disgrace that an estimated 7,000 veterans had to sleep rough last night. These people deserve our support. They deserve to be looked after. They deserve to be put to the top of any housing queue because they put their life on the line for us.
So join me today in our campaign to make sure our veterans get the support and services they so richly deserve, and sign the express.co.uk petition today.